Hello and welcome to the United Stand. We're live, it's Sunday night. Sorry we're a little bit late, but it was Sophie's fault. Anyway, let's crack on. I've got Sophie and I've got Flex. That's not Flex doing a musical statue. He's on audio tonight. But we're going to start off with... Well, first of all, I just want to say about Paul Pogba. It's funny how Kante is apparently the man who makes Paul Pogba the man, so to speak, when actually he isn't, because Kante went off and Pogba was fantastic today. But I'm having a little bit of a problem with something cutting across my face here, so I'll just sit up there until I take the first question, which is going to be around Jose Mourinho. Now, Jose Mourinho has admitted that his team will not be ready for the new season, Sophie, and this is because all the players who have been part of the World Cup this weekend won't get back until 4 or 5 days in training before the Leicester game, and he's saying they're not going to be ready. Now, that would be Fellaini, Lukaku, Lingard, Rashford, Pogba, Young, Jones. Obviously, Fellaini, Young and Jones, that's a positive, but Lingard, Rashford, Lukaku, Pogba, not ready for the Leicester game. Signings not coming in, flying out to the US tour tonight. We're not going to be ready for the new season. We're meant to be closing a 20-point gap. How does that make you feel?
Concerned. That's how it makes me feel. I think most Man United fans obviously concerned about the lack of transfer activity, and I was hoping that the World Cup was what was delaying that, but a lot of our key players are not going to be ready, like Fellaini, for example. So that's worrying. You've got to obviously have trust in Mourinho and what he's trying to do there. Hopefully he's playing some mind games and we will come flying out the blocks. But yeah, concerned, I think, is the word I would use at the moment.
Yeah, Flex, I mean, you were just asking about that because obviously you've been too busy partying again all day in the sun. But, I mean, what does that make you feel? Because I did a video last night and I was surprised by the response to it. I mean, it had a lot of positivity around that video, which I just did raw because I was talking about, you know, I feel like I read something today and it was in the Manchester Evening News just before I went live, and it was something like, and so I don't think it's probably true, but it was something along the lines of Luke Shaw's been encouraged because Jose Mourinho's not going to sign a left back. He's got his left back in Ashley Young, and Rojo can play there if needs be. So can Dalot, so can Luke Shaw. So he doesn't need a left back. And I just feel that, like, we're meant to be closing a 20-point gap, as I said to Sophie. We're meant to be going for the title. But more important than anything, we are Manchester United. We do make a lot of money. And I just feel like we act like a club that's bankrupt, that is making do. And I think as fans, as I said last night, we fall into that trap. But actually, I'm not going to fall into that trap anymore. I'm going to keep being vocal about the fact that we should be doing a lot better. We should be being more aggressive. You know, you're down London way. West Ham, they're being aggressive. They're not going to win the league, but they're making good signings. We're going on another US tour, and Mourinho's list has obviously not been applied to again.
Yeah, like Sophie said, man, it's so concerning because we've got, what, 3 weeks to the beginning of the season, and you know we've had players who we could sign who are not at the World Cup. We've had players, obviously within our squad that haven't gone, but we should have more over the line than this, man. I remember doing videos like a few weeks into the transfer window when we were kind of posing the question, oh, how are we doing on time? And it was very calm then. No, don't worry, we've got loads of time left. And then you're thinking the World Cup as well, that really shouldn't be an issue because players have been signed during the World Cup. You know, these players, as soon as they finish their games, their agents are there, the phones, you know, this is 2018, man. I don't want to hear any of that. The World Cup's on, so it's stalling. It just seems like we haven't been able to get the targets that we want. And I'm starting to really worry, like, who are our targets? What are our second targets? We're not going to get the first targets. Why can't we get the first targets? Like, I'm starting to seriously worry. We're a week away from going on tour, which is where you want to embed your squad to kick in for next season, and we look nowhere near it. We've made 2 signings. I'm not having that keeper. That shouldn't even have been announced as a signing. That should have just happened in the back door. So we've made 2 signings, and realistically, only one that addresses like an immediate problem. Dalot looks like he was bought to give Valencia competition, in Mourinho's word. So that's not a straight like for like. He's only played 6 first-team games for Porto. So that's not a straight in. The left-back situation, okay, Luke Shaw's looking like he's training hard again. Well, he should be. He's a professional player, but he's looking like he's trying to work his way back into the plans. The Alexandra deal looks like it's going dead. Like, I don't know what's going on, and I'm starting to get worried, man. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, Goref says, Mark, can United afford Mbappe? No, and Mbappe wouldn't want to come to us anyway. Rojo's not a left-back in a million universes, says NVS. He's struggling to be a centre-back at the moment. Look at Pogba today, says Kai. We'll talk about that in a bit. Reece says we're just doing 3 signings a summer. A DJ Acid King said that we're looking at 4th or 5th this season, and Flex ain't moving his mouth, guys. Yeah, it is a picture of Flex. He's not just. I
can't believe how many people are commenting on it. It's just a picture.
I think the bounce is real. But look, just on that, a lot of people, Sophie, were saying, well, is this Jose Mourinho getting his excuses in early? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a home game against Leicester. The crowd are going to be up for it. And if we can't beat Leicester at home, well, I think our next game after that, I'm pretty sure, is the following Monday. So it's nearly 9 days rest after that first game. We'll definitely have Lukaku and Pogba back by then. If we can't, I mean, I suppose, you know, you've still got a lot of good players. You've still got Alexis Sanchez, Anthony Martial, Matic will be back. I mean, a lot of people were including people like Matic in the list, De Gea in the list. Look, the reality is the World Cup players get 3 weeks holiday. 3 weeks for everyone involved this weekend gets them back a week before. I agree with that. But Matic and Fred and De Gea, they've been out for another week, so they will be back in time. So we're still going to have those players. But do you think we will see, because we're on the US tour from this week, we are going to get more from Mourinho, which we'll obviously be covering on the United Stand. How do you think Mourinho is going to approach this? Because last season he was speaking about, I want 4 signings, I've got 3. We'll talk about Perisic in a moment, but how do you think Jose is going to approach this? Do you think he's going to be looking for excuses, and how will that make you feel? Or do you think he will deliver what we want, which is a bit of, yeah, we are going to go and try and win the league?
I'd like it to be the latter. I think we need to try and win the league. I think Jose needs to try and win the league, to be honest with you. But it's hard to see how are we going to compete when we're already massively behind City. They've added to their squad. We've added those flex said players that realistically we don't really know of. Grant, the goalkeeper, obviously pointless additions, really, not the players that we need to invest in. So I would like to think that there will be changes and Jose will go for the league. So he must know that he's got to try and win the league this season because the gap was far too big. But at the moment, I can't see how that's going to be possible with the signings that we've made and the strength of our squad. Our midfield isn't strong enough at the minute.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is concerning. I mean, just a question for you both here, actually. That just wanted to ask this, actually. That I was doing the watch along on That's Football for the World Cup final earlier, and somebody said, you know that Ed Woodward's at Wimbledon watching the Wimbledon final, and I was actually live, and I said, well, Paul Pogba's his biggest ever signing. He's a Manchester United player and he's about to be a World Cup winner, a Manchester United World Cup winner. I don't think that's on. And I think that's the problem with Manchester United, because we're being run by businessmen who don't support the club. I mean, how does that make you feel? I mean, Flex, you're trying to butt in and then I'll go Sophie, so.
Flex is eager. Go on.
Sorry.
It's like a bullet at gate.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's there trying to do some flipping sponsorship deal or trying to flipping sign up Nadal or some nonsense, man. I mean, why?
I think he's got mixed up with Djokovic and Milinkovic.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is he doing? Why is he there? Like, if I was him, like he should be at the World Cup final. He's got links and connections. He should be there. Why is he?
Box to box midfielders, and that he's obviously looking at tennis court.
I just don't get it. I honestly, it just bewilders me, like what he's doing.
But there was a lot of people, just for you both, so you can both give your thoughts on this. But there was a lot. I tweeted it. I was like, I don't even know if it's true, but I'll tweet it. It's on my account, and I got a lot of people saying he needs a day off. Stop being so negative. He wants to watch the tennis. Oh, you know. And I thought, are these really Manchester United fans? Paul Pogba's Manchester United's iconic player. He's about to win a bloody World Cup. I think most Manchester United fans are watching that and wanted him to do well. I mean, granted, I can't stick Griezmann, but I wanted Pogba to win it. It was like Pogba. That's why I wanted him to win it. And there's Manchester United's chief executive watching Wimbledon on his day off. I mean, it's up to him what he does. But for me, that's the problem with the club. We've got people in power who don't support the club. It's just a business.
It is a business, definitely.
Stunned by silence. I take it you agree. Next topic. No, but seriously, Soph, what do you think?
Obviously, more needs to be done, but you could look at the other way. He's obviously really relaxed about it. Maybe there's some stuff in the pipeline that we don't know about. I'm hoping that is the case, but yeah, it baffles me really, because for me, we should have already made several moves in this transfer market. I do think maybe we've got to sell before we make those moves. Obviously, Blind talked to him going back to Ajax, Darmian on the way out as well. So I do think maybe that they're waiting for some deals to cross the line in terms of getting rid before signing. But let's hope he's just relaxed a bit, the whole thing, because he knows what's coming.
Nolanson says, worried that if this downhill trend continues, the club will lose its curb appeal to top talent, even with the club's history and size. I mean, I don't think we can get an Mbappe, but talking about that World Cup flex, Pogba won the World Cup. I mean, that's fantastic. And Roy Keane, who's been, I think quite rightly, critical of Pogba in the past, saying all the dancing, all the haircuts, doesn't really wash, don't like it. Roy Keane said tonight, Pogba can do what he wants. He's a World Cup winner with his hair and his phone. I think, obviously Roy Keane's being a World Cup pundit, but there is still that question mark about Manchester United. But is that question mark against Pogba, or is that question mark against Mourinho? Because I did a show the other day, showed all the heat maps for Pogba last season, playing on the left-hand side of the midfield, quite advanced. Every game he's played for France, he's playing to the right-hand side and deeper. How do we solve this Pogba problem? Because we need to. He's a World Cup winner. That can be a massive boost to our team next season.
Exactly. He's going to come back in amazing spirits. Don't get me wrong. He's gone. He's had a good tournament, and he's won the ultimate prize as a football player. It's about, when you're saying what does the question be and who should it be aimed at? It's towards Mourinho. Of course it is, because he's gone to one side and played very well, and then during his club form it's indifferent. We've seen Pogba be really good for us. Don't get me wrong, but we've also seen him be not so great. Now it's down to a couple of things. Some of it has been he's been in bad form. I'll take that on board. But most of it is down to the system and who he's got behind him and who he's got around him, and in what way we're being asked to play. I think that's Jose's dilemma. Looking at that, he has to think. He has to. Obviously, he's not going to come out publicly and say it. We know Mourinho, that's not his style. But he has to be sitting there thinking, flipping heck, man. I tell you what, Deschamps has kind of been under the pressure of it, under the cosh, getting pelters, saying he's a negative manager, not great, and he's gone and won the World Cup and managed to get the best out of Pogba in the tournament. So he's done something right. So Mourinho has no choice but to look at that and try and look at ways to get Pogba playing. I think we need to allow him to play his game. I think we restrict him. I think we ask him to do things that are not too much his strengths. And yes, as a professional footballer at a club like Man United, you're going to have to dig in sometimes. I understand that. You can't be free of defensive duty completely. I understand that. But you also, a player that good, you need to be allowed to play to your strengths more so than do things that you're not quite comfortable with. And that is Jose's problem. He has to find a way where Pogba can do that. And I think the signing of Fred could potentially help that. I do think that, because I think our midfield will be quicker with him in it, not just with legs wide, but the way we move the ball. I think Fred can bring that dynamic element to the midfield, and I think we'll see that from him. So hopefully, that is a signing that I think will aid Pogba. But this is Mourinho, man. We don't know what he's thinking, what other arrivals are going to come, and what direction he's looking to take us in. But that's the situation that he needs to try and fix.
Yeah, Mo Green says Pogba's going to Juventus. Don't believe that nonsense. Sign Kante, says Jack Powell. Well, Pogba did better when Kante went off. Somebody saying, why can't we sign Mbappe? I think it's because he wouldn't want to come and play for us. And Lee Budden says, what do you honestly think is going to happen in this window? You said you would answer tonight. I don't remember saying that, so I'm going to ask Sophie. What do you think is going to happen in these next 3 weeks before we talk about Martial? But who do you, I mean, I'm not going to ask you who's going to leave, because that's very difficult. But three and a bit weeks, like Flex says. Honestly, who do you think is going to come in, or how many?
At the start of the window, I thought we were going to sign Gareth Bale. To be honest, he was the one name that stuck out for me, and I thought he's going to sign. But then we did a new manager. Makes me think that that manager is going to promise him game time and it's going to stay. And I can't see Ronaldo and Bale leaving in the same window. So I genuinely don't know who we're going to sign. I'm really puzzled at the moment. Last season, I would have loved us obviously to get Perisic, and I said, no, you said you're going to talk about him at the moment. I would still sign him now, but that ship has obviously sailed. But in terms of who we're going to get, I think there's multiple positions that we need to sign. Not like a big name player. I think we need to get the essentials really in the places where we're weak. Sandro would be an ideal signing in my opinion, but it looks like that deal's gone now. So yeah, I genuinely can't say who I think we're going to sign. That's why I'm concerned, because there doesn't seem to be much movement going on.
We'll come back to that because it's a good point, but it's just something that's just occurred to me, and I know a tweet's just gone out about it, so we better discuss it because people will be tuning in for it. So, Anthony Martial, Flex, do you think he will forgive? Well, let me give a bit of context. France have just won the World Cup, to anyone who's been asleep all afternoon. Anthony Martial was probably our outfield player of the year up until January, scoring goals for fun, playing really well in the French squad. Alexis Sanchez was signed by Mourinho. Martial never really played again. Martial didn't go to a World Cup. His agent's already said he's not happy. So this afternoon he'll have seen his country winning a World Cup. It can go one or two ways. He can be inspired by it, and but he can be inspired by it the other way to be, I need to be playing regular football, and this man has stopped me from winning a World Cup trophy, and a World Cup winners medal. Do you think? Where do you stand on Martial? Do you think? I mean, it's not necessarily about the World Cup. The World Cup could be the thing that makes him think, I'm furious, I will never forgive Mourinho for this. But he might already have that mentality. Or he might be thinking, sod it, I'm going to try and... I don't know. I've had my opinion on Martial. What's yours? What's going to happen with it?
I was honestly loving the way that the club was trying to promote him quite a lot and return to training. They tried to, it seemed like they'd had a conversation and said, look, we want to keep you. We see a future. I just felt like those conversations had been had, and the way he was looking in training, posing for the cameras, looking happy, that honestly did make me feel like, you know what, I think he could be staying, and it's gone a bit quiet. But I ain't gonna lie, France winning that World Cup. Imagine if you were Martial, like you just seen all your boys winning the World Cup. You weren't there, you weren't even part of the squad, and you're seeing what could have been. Like you're thinking, I should be there. So it does worry me, man. I was quietly confident that he was going to stay. Yes, obviously we always knew that France were going to be in the final, but after seeing the celebration, seeing how their players are running around, sliding in the flipping rain on the pitch, they just look like big school kids. You know what I mean? That they look so happy, and rightly so. They just won a flipping World Cup. That made me think, if I'm Martial, I'm thinking, do you know what? Sod this. I'm out of it. I actually think he could be gone. I really do hope I'm wrong. But I kind of think like that, along with his agent already saying that he wanted to leave, I just think that might be too much. But I really hope to God that I'm wrong. I really do.
Just another little bit of good news for you. Manchester United have just tweeted out some pictures of the players going on the tour. I can tell you Matteo Darmian's going on it. I mean, what a waste of... I mean, what are we doing, Sophie? I mean, seriously. I mean, I've got nothing against Darmian apart from the fact that he's crap. But this is just backwards. This is back to front. I mean, we're taking a player on the tour that's basically going to take up somebody's position on the tour. He's going to play at least 2 games where we could be using Dalot. We could be using a kid. And Darmian's going and he's got 0 future. I mean, this is the most boring transfer saga of Manchester United's history. And he's still here. He was meant to go the first week of the window. We're 2 months in and he's going on the bloody US tour. Just stunned. I'm stunned. I can't. I'm actually stunned.
Sorry.
Go on.
He'll be starting up front against Leicester because we've got no Lukaku. That's what it is.
I mean, seriously though, I am confused because he played about 2 games last season, both of which were crap. And there he is smiling on a US tour. And I've got nothing against the lad. I thought he might be a decent signing. He's not. But more importantly, what is the club playing at? I mean, why? What are we doing? I mean, this is why people are getting frustrated because... You talk about, we know Daley Blind's going to go, but that's now taken a week. Darmian's been going all summer, and now he's going on the US tour. It's just weird. It's really weird. And we seem unable to get business done, and I think that's the frustrating thing. We're so slow. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea, but it's frustrating because our deals at the moment seem to be taking forever. Like, selling players takes forever. The whole Fellaini situation, which seems to take a lifetime. I don't really understand the delays with everything. And I like to think... show a bit of confidence in the board and everything. They've got a plan ahead and they know what's going on behind the scenes. And to us, we just get frustrated because obviously we want stuff done immediately and there's maybe a protocol that has to follow. But for me, if you look at other deals, they get pushed over the line fairly soon. And for us at Man United, it just seems to take a lifetime, and I don't know why.
Just people asking who are going. Can only confirm 6 at the moment, which is Mourinho and some fat bloke, and he's probably his minder. I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to probably get beat up now. But no, Pereira and Pereira, the goalkeeper, and Andreas Pereira, which is good. Gomez and Chong have been pictured together, which is good. Darmian and Herrera I mean, I was hoping that Darmian might just be pulling Herrera's bag, but then I saw Herrera's got a backpack on, so he's clearly coming as well. But we've had a super chat here from Bad C, who says, do you think Jose would try Martial and Pogba on the right? I'd love him to try something. Dane Summer says, do you ever think that we ain't buying because nobody wants to come and play crap football under a manager that won't be here much longer? No, I think I mean, I don't know your thoughts on that, Flex, but I actually don't think that, because Jorginho's just gone to Chelsea and they're not even in the Champions League. Players will go to places for money. Sophie play for Liverpool if they offer enough. So, I mean, why do you think that we're struggling? Why do you think Darmian's going on the tour? Why do you think we haven't done any business? Why do you think we're so slow in this transfer window yet again? I mean, just quickly on that, I can bring Perisic in. Mourinho's quote about Perisic: I don't know why he didn't come to Manchester when I wanted him. Now, people have interpreted that he rejected us, but that sentence doesn't read that to me. That reads to me, I wanted him and we didn't get him.
Yeah, exactly. I just seeing what's going on now, it's just getting more and more worrying by the minute. Like you said, Darmian was supposed to go at the beginning of the window. It's now 2 months later and he's still flipping here. I just don't understand the direction we're going in. I don't understand what we're trying to build. And I'll tell you what, Ed Woodward needs to pull something big out the bag in these next 4 weeks, because I'll tell you what, if we don't get things over the line, I can see us having a bad season. The way it is, I honestly do. And that's not...
Sorry, what was that? Reaction. Sorry, what did you say?
That's not a knee-jerk reaction. I can see us having a poor season if we don't get the signings that we need to get. You know, Jose this time hasn't even said really, like you said last time he came out last season, he was like, yeah, I said I wanted 4 players, I've got 3, It was very, I know what I want, I've told him that, This time, yes, he's been going off doing punditry and the World Cup's been on, but there hasn't really been that level of assertiveness. Do you know what I mean? There hasn't been that whole, this is what I want, this is when I want it by. I've now got this much, so I don't need the 4th. That's a bonus or whatever you want to call it. There's been none of that. It's almost like Jose's kind of on the other end of the phone going, what's going on? What? Like, I can't even say what I want. I can't even put out there what I need because I'm not even confident I'll get it. So I'm extremely worried. The only positive I could think of Darmian going there is, I don't know, to keep him fit or to put him on the market to an MLS side.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Darmian has to go on the tour because we haven't sold him yet. But I think that's more important. It's symbolic that we haven't sold him yet. I mean, Jay Coulter's just made a good point. He says, Sir Alex Ferguson said no value in the market in 2005, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Are we going back to those days? I hope not. I mean, just picking up, I was asked that question. I won't dodge it. Sophie answered it. I'll get Flex to answer it in a minute. But I'm just going to be positive. I tell you what, I'm going to be positive. We're going to sign Alexandro, Gareth Bale, and Milinkovic-Savic. No, we're not. We're going to sign Bale and Sandro. That's what I think we're going to do. And if we don't, then answers are required because I don't know how we come into this season 20 points behind Man City, losing an FA Cup final, and just sign Fred. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't just do that. You're going to be there at the games, Flex. You know what the fans are going to do. We're all. It's all fun and games when the ball's not being kicked, and we can all be like, oh, we're going to finish 6th. We're not. Mourinho's going to be gone by Christmas. But really, they're just words. They're just predictions. You saying we're going to have a bad season. They're just words. I'm not saying you're wrong. But when them words become a reality, I hope everybody really appreciates what's going to happen because you know what's going to happen. People aren't just going to go, oh, it's all right.
They will end up turning and they will end up obviously getting more frustrated. And the thing that I'm looking at, right, I don't even like to talk about Liverpool that much, obviously, but you look at what Klopp does, yeah? He said, I want Keita. They said, okay, you can't have him yet. He goes, all right, I'll wait. Sign him, we'll get him next year. He wanted Van Dijk. Nah, you can't have him, it's not working. All right, go back in January. Got him. Do you know what I mean? He wanted Oxlade-Chamberlain. Got him. Like, with us, like Jose's like, oh, I'll give Ed my list of players. If I can't get that player, then I want that player. If I can't get that one, then I get that. And we end up with like a third choice. But we're Man United. What's the problem here? Why are we not going and getting exactly what we want and when we need it? Yes, I understand. Like, you're not just got a God-given right because we're Man United. I understand that. But if you put things in place and your system and your setup is good enough to get players that you need, then you'll get them. Like, people are showing that. Look how aggressive, like you're saying, though, with West Ham. Look how aggressive they've been. I'm not saying they're going to do well or they're signing, but they're showing intent. Even Arsenal. Like, Emery's just gone quietly about his business. Yes, the people that they've got are not Category A players. I'm not saying that we should be linked with them. What I'm saying is it's an example of the manager saying, I want this, and this. He's got it. Him 3 weeks before, a couple of weeks before the tour, or a week before the tour, saying, we're pretty much done. We're the opposite. We're going into a tour where we've got a week out there to gel the players before we come back and almost start the season. And we've got nothing over the line. One signing, I'm going to say. It's nonsense.
Remember, everyone, we've got over 3,000 watching, so please do drop a like on the video. Let's see if we can get up over... let's see if we can hit 1,000. That'd be great while we're live. I don't think we've done it before. So please do drop a like on the video. But US Tour is coming up, Sophie. And I've got to be honest, the US Tour I get very excited about. We do the watch-alongs. I think the first watch-along is the early hours of Friday morning. So make sure you're up for that. We'll be back doing watch-alongs. Very excited about it. But I mean, I suppose there's two things I was going to say. One is you still play football. I'm too old for that now. But pre-season's important. And obviously we said this a year ago. We weren't getting the signings done, and it's not about, maybe we will get some signings done the week before the season, but the week before the season is not ideal, and I'm sure Mourinho will agree with that. But secondly, we've got a lot of young players there. I mentioned Gomez and Chong, and Pereira's there. I mean, I've seen a lot of people on social media saying, oh, we've got all these youth players, we don't need to sign players. What is your opinion on that? Do you think they have a chance under Mourinho? Do you think that he really will do something he's never done in his career and start playing all these kids, some of which probably aren't even ready yet?
No, I can't see Mourinho doing that. I think genuinely the World Cup has hindered a lot of signings. You know what? Look at Lukaku's signing. It was kind of under the radar. It came out of the blue. I'm hoping that's going to happen in this transfer window. They'll make signings out of the blue. But I think in terms of youth, I'd like to see Jose give them more of a chance. And others like Mason Greenwood as well, who's been impressive in training. And I'd like to see them give them more a chance. Maybe on tour, that's where we'll get to see some of them. That's where I'd like it to happen, but I can't see it happening in the Premier League season. Obviously, I would like to be pleasantly surprised, but it's a bit of a risk in terms of they've not really had much experience before. We were fuming last game of the season. It was kind of a nothing game, and we all wanted to see that youth played, and Jose wouldn't even do it then. So I can't see that happening this season. Not yet, anyway.
And just quickly on the first point, I mean, somebody said, Flex, apparently you keep freezing. But the other one was, obviously, you are playing at a decent level of football, and I think you're injured at the moment. But pre-season, okay, let's pretend your team. When do you ideally want a couple of new signings to come in? And how difficult is it to drop into a team a week before a season starts when they've been on pre-season, when they've been on a tour? Is it ideal? Is it a problem? What are your thoughts?
Well, we only had 2 weeks off, and already we've made new signings. We've got our first friendly, so our first tour game really coming up this Sunday. But we've already done pretty much all of our business, all of our signings done. And now in pre-season we have one fitness session, and the other one is based purely on tactics, and we're working on formation. So for someone new coming in now, when we are already starting our tour games as such, it is really difficult because we're already working on our style of play and what formations we're going to play for the season. So like I say, ours is being done early, literally first week of pre-season, pretty much we've got our business sorted.
Yeah, and I think that's the point that we're trying to convey here, is that everyone's got to... I love positivity. It's not always in my blood, but I like it because, I'd love to be like that sometimes, a little bit more. But the reality is, for the second season running, I'm going to defend Jose on this. Don't know what you think, Flex, but I'm going to defend him. He's been on holiday for 6 weeks. He's given the list to Woodward. He's coming back from holiday and nothing's changed. And we're going on tour and nothing's changed. As a manager, you've got to be irritated by that. I mean, I'm sure he's going to toe the party line because he's got to toe the party line. I said this last night. Mourinho's only ally is the board, so he's not going to upset them because he hasn't got the full support of the fans. But it's just not ideal for a manager to be going out again and doing this. And I just sense Mourinho's probably very annoyed deep down.
He's got to be. He's got to be because, like you said, there's only so much he can do. He's not an agent. He's not a director of football. He's not that. That's not what he is. He's not a chief exec. It's not his job to sit there and negotiate these deals. He probably feels like he could probably do a better job. Probably, do you know what I mean? He probably feels like he could ring the players himself or the clubs and do a better job than what's been going on now. Look, But I've got to stay positive to some extent though, because of how bad we've been in the transfer window, there's no other option but to actually hope and pray that we've actually got something in the pipeline. Sophie made a good point about the Lukaku signing. That did kind of come out the blue. All right, yeah, we were linked with Morata all summer, so we knew we'd be getting someone. At the minute, it's not even like we're linked with that star player. We don't know which one it's going to be. But yeah, the Lukaku thing kind of came out the blue. So you're hoping, your fingers are so crossed that we're going to get something over the line, because surely we have to. We have to. I mean, well, when does the transfer window shut? End of August?
No. 3 weeks.
No, it goes, yeah, a couple of weeks, doesn't it? Yeah. So
first game of the season, it's shut.
There you go, because they've changed the rules now, haven't they? So
yeah,
the pressure is on, massively on. And then you're looking at exactly when we do sign these players, how long is it going to take them to bed in? Even if it's a world-class player, it's still going to take time for them to embed in. We saw that obviously when Sanchez came, as good as a player he can be and has been, he didn't settle, and that was when he came in January. And by the end of the season, he still hadn't settled quite right. So hopefully he's got the pre-season behind him and stuff. So it's all good getting these players last minute, but how's that going to be for our preparation? Jose would have had a clear thought in his mind of who we would have wanted, how we would have wanted us to play, and that could be dependent on the targets we get. If we don't get them targets, then it puts everything back, because then he has to reevaluate and say, okay, well, I didn't get a Griezmann, or I didn't get a Bale, or I didn't get a XYZ, so now I'm stuck with what I had last year. So what do I do? Do you know what I mean? So he's definitely going to be frustrated with that, 100%.
Yeah, and you know what? And a lot of people in the live comments, remember tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is the Skype show, so that's your show. So keep these things in mind. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because we've had some pretty passionate shows over the weekend, and interested to see how everybody feels, because it's not always one way. And positivity. If we did sign Bale and Sandro in the next few weeks, then suddenly positivity goes up. And there was a good comment here from Chrisia Prince says, I hope the boards get the deals done soon. You and us all. Get behind him until it happens, says ex-Layla. And there was a good comment here. We wait for players, that's the problem. Says Red Jedi. Like, regards Bale, we're waiting to see what he does, if we're in for him. I mean, that could just be paper talk. And the board should be thinking that support will dwindle away if this carries on, says Robert Bostock. I mean, I don't agree with that, because I said this last night. If United got relegated to the Championship because they did something dodgy and they got a points deduction, and we had no money to spend and we only had the squad that we've got, I'd still support Manchester United. All of you would. And we'd know that we've got our hands tied and we can't sign anybody. When you know the situation, you deal with the situation. The problem here is that we don't know why we're not spending money. We know we're rich. We know we've not had a bloody transfer ban on us. So we don't know what's going on, and that's the thing. But I'll tell you what, I think next season is going to be massively interesting. I hope it's going to be a good season. But if it goes wrong because of lack of activity this summer, they're going to feel the brunt of the fans, definitely, and that's nothing to do with threats from the United stand, because we don't do that. I will listen to what Flex does when he's interviewing the fans, and people were very angry towards last season, and if that doesn't change, there'll be problems next season. It's simple. But Luke Shaw, I wanted to ask you about, Sophie. The story this morning, which I did a video on actually, was Luke Shaw's rejected a move to Everton, which could be holding up the Alexandro deal. I mean, what's your thoughts on Luke Shaw and his future at Manchester United? Does he have one?
I didn't think he had one, and seeing the pictures of him apparently on holiday, I thought even more so he's not got one. But as Flex mentioned earlier, it looks like he's training well. He's looking positive. He's had his teeth whitened. He's looking up for the season. And you know what? We all know Luke Shaw has got the ability to be one of the best left backs in the country, if not the best. When he's on form, he had a bad injury and he's never really fully recovered. Jose doesn't seem to have the support for him either. But I think, you know what, if Luke Shaw is in the right mode, he's going to bounce back, he's going to be fit, and Jose is willing to give him a chance. And I think we should give him that chance, because he's definitely got the ability to be the best left back in the country.
And just on Luke Shaw, the very next question, you sort of touched on it yourself there. I like Luke Shaw. And you sound like Luke Shaw, and I think Flex does as well. But the most important question is, even if he's super fit, and I thought he was good last season, but he just picked Young over him. I mean, is he ever going to convince Mourinho? And Mourinho's spent 2 years with him. I mean, that's the key here, isn't it? It's not really about Luke Shaw's ability. Can or will Mourinho ever convince him? And do you ever see him getting Ashley Young out of the team?
I don't think he'll convince Jose at all. I think Jose's patience with him, for one reason or another, only Jose will know the real reason why, has run out. You know, you can question, obviously, Luke Shaw's mentality in terms of, you know, he had a fluctuation in his weight or in and outside, not fit enough, etc., etc. Yes, he had a bad injury, so that's nothing to do with questioning that. That was just unlucky. And at that time, he was playing really well. But he's been here he's been here, what, 4 years now?
Yeah, it must be about that. 17 years,
yeah,
wasn't it?
maybe 5. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So, and he still hasn't managed to nail down a starting place. And that's coming being one of the best prospects in England. If he's not careful, he'll turn into another Jack Wilshere or Theo Walcott, where they're the hottest prospect, and there's only so long you can be a prospect for. Do you know what I mean? He's going into his mid-20s now. He's not even classed as that young anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not a little kid. So he's either got to take control of his career and say, right, I'm moving because I want to better myself and I'm done with this, or stay and fight it out. And if he stays, I think that the only way he could stay after how he's been treated this season is if he's got a vote of confidence from somewhere, or he's thinking, I'm on this much money, I'll ride it out for another year, and then I'll go. Because, you know, Martial, his agent saying he wants to leave almost for the reasons why maybe Luke Shaw should want to leave, but Luke Shaw's not coming out and saying that. So that would suggest to me that Luke Shaw still thinks he's got unfinished business to do. He still thinks he can come in, or maybe he's had a conversation to get some reassurances. But right now, especially, and I know what Jose will probably say, if we don't sign a left back, he will say, England left back, Ashley Young, you know, semi-finals of the World Cup, which means he's probably one of the top left backs in the world. I can see Mourinho talking crap like that, saying something like that to say, what do I need when I've got the third best left back in the world, because England finished, well, fourth best left back. Do you know what I mean? I can just see Jose talking some silly stuff like that. So in the question of whether would he displace Young, probably not.
Just a little bit more clarity on the US tour. This is live news, so let me just tell you who is on the tour. Mason Greenwood, who I spoke about yesterday on the US tour. Mason Greenwood, James Garner, Tahith Chong, Roshan Williams, Ethan Hamilton, Joshua Bowie, all 19 have travelled, as well as Angel Gomez. Daley Blind has been admitted, so he's going to be going to Ajax, which is good. And then, obviously, we've got a lot of the players that we would expect as well. I'm just seeing if they're going to list it out for us. They normally do. Okay, yeah, here we go. So, Romero, Pereira, Grant, Phil and Grant's going. Valencia, Darmian, Dalot, Fauzi Menza, Roshan Williams, Chris Smalling, Eric Bailly, Eric Sultwan-Sibi, Dimitri Mitchell, Luke Shaw, James Garner, Ander Herrera, Andreas Pereira, Scott McTominay, Ethan Hamilton. I mean, that's very inexperienced, that midfield. I mean, Herrera's the only one. And then forwards, Chong, Gomez, Mata, Martial, Mason Greenwood, and Joshua Bowie. I mean, that is massively inexperienced, Sophie, isn't it? Massively, but as you said earlier, we want to see more youth given a chance, and if our players aren't ready at the moment because of the World Cup, then why not give them a chance during the tour? Let's see who impresses. Yeah, definitely. And just to come back, I mean, on Luke Shaw there, Jose Mourinho, do you think that he can convince Mourinho?
I think he can, based on his ability, but like Flex said, I think psychologically there's obviously some mental issue there in terms of, I don't know, maybe since his injury, psychologically that's affected him or what. He looks a bit overweight as well, so I think if he can overcome that barrier, I think based on ability, yes, he can prove Jose wrong. And I didn't ask you about Pogba. What are your thoughts on Pogba at Manchester United? Because there's still sort of that thing about his agent. Pep said he was offered him, apparently PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I mean, there is that suggestion. We can't ignore it. We can't put it all on Mourinho that Pogba's just not happy. Any chance he can go? What do you think from Pogba next season? Do you think he's suddenly going to turn into Mr. Consistent, or are you know, where do you sit with Paul Pogba at United? Pogba, I think he needs a midfield player who's going to release him. We rely on him defensively, and it's obviously not a strong point of his game. I'm not saying they shouldn't, like Flex said earlier, he will have to defend at times. Today in the final, I thought he defended really well for France, for example. But I think he needs to be given more of a free role. And when you give him that chance to roam, then we will see the true Paul Pogba. At the start of the season, last season, when we were banging 4 goals in a game, Pogba was fantastic, and then something changed for me. Hopefully, Freddie's that player, but I can't really comment because obviously I haven't really seen him play. But I think Pogba needs somebody who's the side of him who's going to basically do the dirty work, and Pogba have more of the ball and be allowed to roam a bit more. I don't think Pogba will leave anytime soon, though.
No, I just hope that the World Cup galvanises him and Mourinho puts him in the right position and we get the real Pogba, because I think, you know, regardless of signings, you've got De Gea, Valencia, Lindelof, Bailly, Luke Shaw, Pogba, Matic, Fred, Sanchez, Lukaku, Lingard. You've got a decent team. I don't think it's a title-winning team, but you've got a decent team, and you add to that. Shane Parker says so-called Chelsea have joined the race for Savic. Plus player reported in the Sports Illustrated. I don't think we're getting Milinkovic-Savic, and I think Chelsea are going to tear this transfer window up now like they always do. But please do drop a like on the video, everyone. Really enjoyed the show tonight. We've got Skype tomorrow night for you at 8 o'clock. Transfer Daily's up in the morning at 7 AM. But really enjoyed the show. Great to get Sophie and Flex back on as well. So do drop a like on the video, and thanks for coming on, Sophie.
Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure.
And Flex, I'd say nice to see you, nice to hear
you. Yeah, everyone's saying I've been doing a new mannequin challenge, but not at all. No, good to be here, man. Thanks for having me on, man.
No worries. And are you doing your video with Rants this week?
Yeah, we're going to go film that tomorrow. Got to go down to London late to get that done. So that will be coming your way on Tuesday.
Cool. Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching. The US Tour squad's out. It's very inexperienced. I mean, at the end of the day, as I said yesterday, it really is just exhibition. Mourinho hasn't got the players he wants. He's not even got the signing he wants. But from our point of view, we'll get to see some kids in the United top, which I'm really excited about. And we'll see how we do. And whether Mourinho will ever use any of them, unless they're over 6'2", I doubt it. But we'll see. Thanks, everybody. Speak to you all tomorrow, and have a good evening. Thanks for coming on, both.